Hey, did you watch that Todd Snyder thing on Sunday?
I did. Yeah. He got, I think he was alluding to food poisoning. But
During it?
yeah, like he did a couple of songs and then he said he was feeling funny and he threw up and then he said, I ate something.
Wait. Todd Snyder threw up on camera?
No, he got off stage and then he said he come back and he said he threw up. He ate something. He goes, and it wasn't LSD. He's, it was like a fundraiser thing. So I doubt he was partying. I think he just ate something, but it was good. It kind of threw him off a little bit, as it does when you vomit. Hey,
speaking of vomit,
hey there. Did you vomit at the? Did you get a little carried away at the Avett Brothers and vomit?
I had a good time at the Avett Brothers. Actually, it was fun. But I was I was a few minutes late now because all of a sudden my modem wasn't working right, and I just had to I rebooted everything, and then Zoom wanted to do updates, and it was a whole. I couldn't get out of it. I was like, if Chaille knew what was happening right now, he'd be pissed off at me. But they did it without my consent. They just updated.
Yeah, that's weird.
I almost texted you guys earlier, and I came into I had to come in at like about 45 minutes earlier and try to cool this fucking place off. My air conditioner's dying in here, and yeah, so I have to keep it not running a lot of the time, or keep it running real high, keep it pretty hot in here. So I came in to cool this place off early, and I checked, and I was like, oh fuck, Zoom wants an update. I almost texted you guys, but I was like, they know.
What do you got? Like you got a window unit in there? Or do you got a mini split?
The one of the ones that has like the tube that goes out the window.
A mini split.
I want to put a mini split in. This is just one of the ones that sits on the floor, and then it runs the tube that goes out the window.
Like a dryer duct.
Yes.
Yeah. That's not that. Come on, dude. What are you fucking around, man? That's you're gonna die in that box.
Yeah. Budget constraints.
I think those mini splits are pretty fucking easy to install, man.
The problem is I'm not sure if I can do it. I don't know. I'll have to look. I'll have to do it myself because I'll have to if I want it installed, it'll have to get what is it called?
A permit?
Permits.
Permits.
This place is fucking illegal as fuck, so that won't work.
Just install it at night, dude. No one will know.
But I have there's a window on the wall where I want it, so I think I'll have to knock the window out and put a whole wall up. I don't think I can put it on a wall with a window. I don't know.
It seemed like in Waco.
None of it matters. I can't afford a fucking mini split, so
And you just do what you want, like Waco, Texas. Corish, he like fucking didn't pay attention and no permits. He had a bus half buried and shit.
Yeah. Well, that's what I did. I put this in. I did all the electric. I dug the ditch, installed the illegal breaker on my pedestal, and ran the electric to it. This whole thing is
Why are you concerned with getting a permit for the mini split?
Well, because I would have to install the mini split myself, because if I had a professional install it, they would need a permit. And you can't get a permit for the mini split on a fucking coyote fucking building. So
wait a few years, your machine gun will be all the permit you need. In about, I don't know. I don't know.
I permit myself.
Yeah, I permit.
The problem with that is not that I'm afraid of doing it; it's that I have no fucking clue how to do it.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm gonna research this. Chat.
Why can't you just get a window air conditioner and plug it in?
You can do that too.
They're noisier though than this type is the problem. But even with this one,
Erickson, the mini split is the one we added to the fun house. And when we used to do the podcast, Chad would be there, and we would have to right up until we record. The window box air conditioner would be going, and we'd have to turn it off. Chad be fucking bowling up, and then the Doug smoking, and then the heat, oppressive heat. And then we'd have to take a break for no other reason other than to clear out the room and then to turn on the AC. Now with the mini split in there, it runs the entire time, even while the podcast is going on.
All right, I'm sold.
We're gonna have a climate death on this podcast before too long. One of us will be like in their room. No, I'm feeling all right. I don't know, man. You're sweating an awful lot. Are you sure?
Even right now, when I record in the like audiobook practice stuff, I've not been able to do anything for a while in here because I still have to shut this completely off to record audiobook stuff. And if I shut this off completely right now, I don't think it'll come back on. So it's I'm at a standstill for that.
So you just leave it running.
So it stays on a high temperature, mostly just the fan runs in here right now. But you know, before it hits 90, I don't want any of my gear in here to, you know, break down. So the air does have to kick on a little bit, but I can't let it run too much. It's 80 in here right now.
And then the that's what'll make it outrageous when the floodwaters sweep him away. Like he was just saying how hot it was.
Permitted.
That's what I'm kind of holding out for now. It's like maybe I'll get, you know, maybe I can live long enough for a you know, climate disaster to head my way, a mudslide or some. I mean, you know, I was close. I mean,
would be either a homelessness, break-in, or fire.
Fire.
Well, the fire could lead to the mudslide. Let's not.
Yeah, no fire.
Well, that's true. You're on a
fire.
hill.
Maybe I'm hanging on. I'm
You
still
survive. You
living
barely survived the fire, and you think you've made it, and then it starts raining. And you're like, "Oh, thank God, it's raining! It's putting out the fire." And then it just rains.
Rain, and look, our prayers have been answered.
Just to be like stuck in a mud stuck with a bunch of other people going, fucking didn't see this coming, did you?
I think that's worse than a snow avalanche. Would be a mud avalanche.
Oh,
with snow, it seems like you at least might have a chance, but with mud, just and water, you know, and slurry.
I'd rather die by pristine snow than fucking packed in mud.
If you had
I think you have a chance with snow if you wanted to survive. Chad would just lay back and open his mouth. I understand.
Yeah, mud. It's just your time to go.
Take me.
And then
mud took him.
You know what? Worse than that, I just don't want to do the cleanup. I might survive.
You'd be better off dying.
Yeah, there was I forget where this footage was. There's been a couple floating around today or the last couple of days, but just people looking and all these like logs and shit and mud. It's just like inundated the town, and they're just like looking from the second story, like the fuck. How do you even begin to, you know? It's like
what are you talking? You're talking about
like
an
avalanche
disaster?
or mudslide went through a town. But it was just like all these like logs. It must have been like that swept the mill into town or whatever. But it's like you're saying the cleanup. It's like, fuck it.
Well, just on a hill where there's trees, if there's a mudslide,
no, I know
all the trees come down with the mud. The trees don't stay there and the mud leaves.
I mean, you know, but if you're like just hanging out on vacation, you're like thinking, God, I guess I won't get any drinks this morning. It's like, you know, didn't expect that shit to happen. But it's it's like what. I mean, it took me 2 years to get the chicken from the chickens digging around in my yard to get that kind of back to normal. I can't imagine. If my slope got
chicken scratches took you 2 years to recover.
Well, I didn't work on it like, you know,
one shovel. One shovel should do it.
Yeah, but
40 minutes with a rake.
Well, what I needed was a pickaxe to loosen the dirt and then do the shovel. But I'd go out there and I'd always forget I didn't have the right tool.
A pickaxe? You should have just got more chickens.
Why do you need a pickaxe?
Well, because the fucking chickens would bury.
What size were these chickens?
They were buried. You know, well, you might not have this problem, Chad, but they would bury shit, and then it would like rain.
Like a dog buries a bone.
Yeah, like all these sticks, just all, you know. It's like they just fucked up shit. You know, they weren't team players. My chickens were, you know, not, or whatever they did with the eggs or whatever, they canceled it with their attitude. And then they tried that buddying up bullshit, you know, so they knew they weren't cutting it as yard people. So they try to hang out with me. Like, oh, what are you up to, man? And I was like, just fucking, you know.
Forget it, bro.
Yeah, forget it. I saw what you did in that back corner of the yard. I'm, you know, I've never been in the back corner of the yard, and I went up there and it's all fucked up. Like, you know, thanks a lot, chickens.
What did you expect chicken life to be like, though? I mean, you know that the chickens have to like live. They have to make some sort of living mess.
I wanted freedom, free range, but I wanted it to be like a democracy where I had a lot of rules to it. So they could go about their thing, but they really weren't. You know, I had them, and they were totally free range. I mean, they were, sometimes I'd find them in the front yard, and I wouldn't even, you know how they got out there. It's their business. But they were just too free. If I had them again, I would treat them like, you know,
a little more of a dictatorship,
new chicken or whatever, and put, you know, you got like, you know, yard time. Come on out, 2 at a time.
What do you care if they're out front or in their backyard, as long as they're
out front where they can, you know, I mean, it's like I had boundaries, and then they were like pushing them.
I built my chickens like these refillable cup waterers that you screw into 5-gallon buckets.
Yeah.
And so like I don't have to refill their water for like 2 weeks. And then now that we're getting ready to leave, I made this cool PVC pipe tube, 4-inch PVC pipe tube thing that's has like a bend and opening in it that they can dip their head. It's like an auto feeder.
Yeah.
And now I don't even know what the fuck to do anymore. They're like, I'm just done with them now. They're just self-sufficient. I don't have Andy's
dream.
Right.
Well, I don't even have chicken chores anymore. They're so simple.
My mistake was I would try to do shit and be cool with them. You know, like I didn't establish I was the head cock or anything. I was just like, hell, you know, I'm out doing shit. Let's all, you know, they would just hang out. And
instead of their leader, you tried to be their friend.
I needed to say, you know, let's fucking, you know, let's separate.
Classic management mistake, right?
Humans on one side, chickens
always a division.
On the other.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think maybe what you needed was a chicken coop, Andy.
Yeah.
Because there's not really like a dominance thing like with dogs that you have to do with chickens. They don't know. They just thought you had treats. So they're like, hey, this is the guy that feeds us. So they follow you around. And then if you don't have a chicken coop, they'll be in your front yard because they're chickens. They just walk around.
I dominate them I'd push them down, hold them down. But I didn't really like a dog. You do that, and then you're like, you get it, and then you let them up. And the chickens, they just
a dog
got
and
up
a chicken
and
are very different.
They're not going to get that.
Yeah. No, I mean,
different animals.
That's why there's just no order, and I didn't have, you know, they'd have to go down at night. They would go down, and then it was like a prison. I would have to go through a door, and then through another door, and then allow that, and then open a door, and then allow them to come in. And it's like, you know, at some point I could have just, you know, it's like, I'm gonna go down and just get scrambled eggs and see what the time and energy those fucking, you know, Chad's got a setup where you can hang with them, but I had a setup where they were just like, you know, it's like, what's up, bro? What do you want to do?
they were knocking on your door in the morning.
There's nothing I ever wanted to do with them, you know.
Andy's
at one time I wanted
your fantasy of what it was like, Andy, to own chickens just must have been crazy in your head.
Yeah,
it seemed like a lot. It seemed way.
Well, this How to Train Your Dog book is no help.
Turns out it does not relate.
Get chickens right. Chapter 1: don't get vulnerable chickens if you're not into it. If you don't have a strategy, you know.
Get cocks, not cucks.
Yeah.
I'm not going to read any directions, but holding them down seems reasonable. I'm going to try that.
They do that. They responded to that, at least, you know. It felt like they kind of, I mean, that was one time.
A giant is just pushing them into the earth. You're going to get a response.
I figured out which one of mine is going to be my first friend. I petted one the other day. She came over. I had a lock of hair hanging down, and I was sweating. I was working in there. She leapt up and tried to eat it. So I think she thought it was a worm, and then she let me pet her and a little bit. And so I'm making friends.
Your head into the dirt.
I mushed her down.
Dominator.
Yeah.
Rubbed her
Dominator, and she'll be your number one chicken. That's
She
your
went and got
bottom
my
chicken.
slippers. It worked.
That's your bottom chicken, your number one.
I'm already considering getting some meat chickens. So that
oh yeah. Yeah,
so,
making, some of them got to disappear and it keeps the other ones on guard too. It's what I mean,
I think
had
some of your
natural
chicken training, Andy, comes from cartoons.
Well,
were you
one of them-
surprised that none of them had a bonnet or a dress?
I wouldn't be surprised if the one got killed by an anvil because it didn't make sense that it was dead. But
I have got to stop leaving my anvil on the roof of the chicken. I don't know why I keep putting it up there.
Hanging halfway off.
It's not even a flat, it's a peak, and then it's not, of course it doesn't
the little
balance.
chicken hawk's been hanging around here again.
Gotta quit getting my food from Acme.
Oh, God damn it.
So yeah, it's a much easier course for me with the turkeys because they're doing that.
They're not yours.
I know. I can take it. I can.
They're wild.
When you want them to die and they won't die.
They don't. I don't know. They must live out their times or whatever. But they don't. I've only seen like one or two dead turkeys around, and they're everywhere. Sometimes there's like hundreds of them, and it's like you'd think one of them would just have a heart attack or something and drop dead there, but I don't know what happens. Maybe
why would a turkey have a heart attack? Too much smoking?
Stress. Yeah, they do smoke a lot.
Smoked turkey.
Remember the syntax ads? It's a remorseful turkey trying to quit. But well, I mean, I saw they fight, they fuck,
They do that thing where they put their heads in the other one's mouth.
Yeah, like they.
Is that fighting or fucking?
It doesn't matter.
It's probably both. A little of both. At that point, it could go either direction.
That's why you'd expect to see them like dropping out of, falling out of trees, dying and shit, because they live a white trash lifestyle.
They even go in trees?
Huh?
They even go up in the trees?
Yeah, they go up in trees and hang out.
They do?
Yeah, they get that bird's eye view up there and they look down and then, they don't, they fly, but I don't think they really fly well.
Every view from a bird is a bird's eye view, right?
True. If they're wearing their proper eyes, but turkeys will go up. They fly all right. But they don't go south for the winter. No shit. No. But they get up in those trees, and then when they come down, it's kind of fucking. If you're out in the woods with them, you'll hear it, and it's kind of scary. Yeah, I would like to be like up there with Chad when you have a bow and arrow. That would be the ultimate.
I don't think I've ever seen a turkey actually fly. I didn't know
it's like a controlled chaos. There's
like a glide. They like a run, jump, and glide kind
fall
of
down.
It's like those old videos from the 20s where a guy's trying to fly with wings.
Yeah, like hang gliders.
Kind of catches a little air, but never really soars.
Mm-hmm. And I wonder how much they could, like, there'll be like a row of them, and if I was down below and just one pops down and then you just run out, I wonder if you could kick one or if they would adjust, like, because they hit their, I wonder if they know where they're going to land, or they can just go, oh, somebody's there, and like a seagull will adjust. But I bet a turkey's like, once it's settled on where it's going to go, you could just wait for it, thump it when it comes down if it wasn't paying attention.
like it really can't control.
Well, once it's falling, it's falling.
Yeah, they come, I mean,
like
I guess they probably
in parachutes when they trying to pull the strings. There's no strings on a turkey.
And they're gamey.
Yeah.
But those were, well, I don't know. I like chicken. I don't understand why I don't get sliced chicken. I always go, I won't get sliced chicken, but I prefer it as a bird to eat. I don't like.
What do you mean you won't get sliced? You won't get like sandwich slices?
When I get sliced meat, it's always turkey meat.
Yeah.
And it's my least favorite as a fucking.
Well, you can't. You're allowed to get chicken.
I know. It's just.
They sell roast chicken.
In fact, you're the one who goes to the store.
Chicken and ham are the two cheapest fucking ones, though. They want you to get the ham and the chicken, so I get a turkey.
that you don't like.
Even though they're not good neighbors.
I don't like it, but they're not going to tell me what to eat.
But Kroger's not fucking bossing me around.
Are you spite eating the turkey?
It's just more delicious.
Turkeys, I don't care for turkey as much. Jenny made some teriyaki chicken in the crock pot the other day with rice. That's what made me think about raising meat chickens. I was like, fuck, I'll eat that every goddamn day. I'll go out there and butcher one of those and put it in the fucking crock pot every fucking day.
Yeah. Next thing you know, you gotta fucking have a rice paddy field growing in your fucking yard. You think you need a permit now?
Oh shit.
Chad, have you ever dressed a turkey? I mean, a chicken?
Yeah.
So like, is it like, like what I think it is you sneak up on it, chop its head off, and then let it run around a little bit?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Or, I think I told you guys this story whenever my mom bought all my kids chickens when they were little. My son, they all turned into roosters. And my son wanted to do his because I took it and whipped its neck and it snapped its head, I'm like, I want to do mine, and just started swinging it, and its neck stretched about that long.
Oh my God.
Oh, you gotta whip it, son. He was like, hey.
There's a learning curve.
Oh, we laugh.
There's a neck curve.
Not the chicken, but the rest of us laugh.
What happened to the
and then you gotta dump it in I picked it up and killed it real quick. But then you have to dunk them in hot boiling water and they're cold there, and it fucking stinks, and it's a nasty job. But if I'm only doing one at a time, it's not like I wouldn't do it on I've got a friend who I was talking to that started doing them like on a big scale, to where they bought one of those things that looks like a washing machine drum, and it's full of rubber fingers, and it basically flops the bird in there until all the with water pressure until all the feathers pull off of it.
Choking device.
No, the bird's already dead when it goes in that. It's not a torture device. It's a plucker.
Talk, chicken, talk.
You still have to cut its head off. That part is still your responsibility. I don't know if they have a chicken guillotine or something that makes it easier for people.
Sarah Palin and the chicken.
That was the turkey farm. That was when Sarah Palin did her interview, and they're murdering turkeys in the background the whole time.
I never knew about that.
Yeah, that cone is open on the bottom, and they just take the turkey, dunk it straight down, and then they just slit the throat right there.
So the turkey just like looking around, going, "Oh,
hey man,
it's pretty snug in here."
Hey man, is that Sarah Palin?
I can't believe I can't believe John McCain chose her as a running.
Even the turkey murderer is looking like, are those dumb fucks filming right here?
Shit.
I mean, and also let's not forget, she has control over where she can stand. She decided that was a good spot.
Yeah, there's some.
Come on.
She's not very smart though, Chaille.
No, this was just clearly.
It might be that, sometimes people like that, there's also people who are, the cameraman who has, done this before, and he's like, what would be kind of funny secretly is if how about this? And she's like, okay.
Yeah, they delete the 5 good pictures.
And she's just doing a little, Sarah. She only is worried about her, her makeup and her lipstick, and how women are.
Yeah. Well, she was actually sort of hot back then, and she kind of went. That face didn't hold up very long. It was like she had her hotness for the.
She was right at the end of it when she was famous,
Yeah, and then had that retarded kid, maybe. If you want to believe my version of it, that's my bunch of.
It's been a fun episode so far, you guys.
This is like when we should ask for hey man, if you can help support our podcast, get on the Patreon. because we do it at the end, and then it's like sometimes people go in and eat a bunch of buffet, and then they'll take off before the bill drops. I think that's what happens. We go at the end of our episode. People are like, "Oh, I'm full," and it's like when the collection plate comes out at church or whatever. It's like some people got to go to the bathroom right before it comes around.
You don't want to get in the parking lot when everybody's leaving, man.
You got to get out of there. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, there you go. That's it. Speaking of conspiracies, I heard a conspiracy while I was in Colorado. This one came from my daughter. She has heard about this, and I thought, first of all, you hear one and you're like, okay, whatever. And then the more I thought about it, the more I thought this is actually a fucking great conspiracy. So the billionaires who imploded in the submarine, not dead, faked their own deaths. It's a service that's provided to rich people.
Oh, yes,
because there's absolutely no body they won't even look for your body. You give them $500 million or whatever it is, and then you get to go on with your life, and then they get to take you down into the submarine to the Titanic. And
here we go, guys. We're gonna dive.
Oh, everyone's dead. Sorry, it's over. And I thought, holy fuck, that's actually a pretty good good game.
Except for that,
like in a Four Seasons somewhere hanging out.
Yeah, just fuck it. Well, everyone's got to, when you get to the point of needing to fake your death, you've got a reason, like it's not just hey, it'd be
like Jared from Subway. There'd be like, the kid doesn't fit the MO that was in there, but that would be, like Michael Jack, all these guys who are like pending charges for molestation.
You never know.
Let's go down in the submarine.
Yeah, you never know what these fucking guys were up to.
Yeah,
but that would be a perfect way to do it, because there's no, you're jelly at the end of that, so there's nothing to find. So there's no way to prove you weren't on that unless they catch you alive.
That was a fun news week. That, the whole, I didn't know those things existed, finding out they existed, and the rich people.
4 days of oxygen and ticking, and there's no way for them to open it. So even if it surfaces, someone has to get the sub. Yeah. That's
where they lost viewership. They should have said, no, if we get them up there, we'll get a bolt guy up here. We'll get them out, It's like we all wanted baby Jessica to come out of the well, and this one was kind of like people turned about halfway through the story when they heard about it. They were like, yeah, let her stay down in the well, we don't give a shit.
No one said
the analogy.
I don't feel like people were cheering on those people in the submarine. I wrote them off.
Nobody wanted the submarine people to be alive.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It wasn't it should have been the kind of thing.
There was less empathy for the billionaires who were playing down at 12, planning to play down at 12,000.
Yeah, it was because the reason that story was so popular, aside from the fact that they're not dead and they fake their own death and they're all on an island somewhere having, margaritas. The reason that was such
islands available.
Popular story. Well, they all go to the same island. That's part of the deal. They all
there's nothing.
Till the heat dies down. Till the heat dies down, you go stay on an island for a year or two, chill out. But the reason that was such a fascinating story, because I saw all that stuff, like why are we spending so much time on this story of who cares about it? Because the options that were facing these people were both just absolutely fascinating and horrendous. Like Chad's horrible deaths YouTube thing, like either the submarine implodes and they are turned into, hot jelly in a fucking millionth of a second, or they're trapped on the bottom with their air running out, knowing they're all going to die in a tube with each other. Like, that's the worst. To think about having to go through that would be.
Well, and with those dudes too.
Well, it's not. Yeah.
Like, hey, where'd you get your boat ciders? Did you get the? I like your
outsiders.
I was trying to,
you talking about the topsiders,
yeah.
Shoes?
Yeah.
Very topsiders.
Yeah. But they're not dead. And now this is a conspiracy that I'm going to go with.
Yeah.
Take it easy, Sam Tripoli.
No, this is the one. I'm on board. This makes
come on.
sense to me.
Come on.
Sense to me. Did they find their bodies? Did they find their bodies? No.
Well, have you seen the video of a tanker, a railroad tanker imploding? It just crushes immediately. And that's at atmosphere.
Yeah.
There's something, I mean, you can imagine what's going on down there's the time to react. They wouldn't even know what happened, and it just blow apart or blow.
You think they were like it was the spit take, or I mean, like one of them imploded, and then then the next guy imploded, or did they all implode? Like that'd be funny if they were like, like what's going on? And like everybody Beetlejuices and
the first guy implodes, and then the rest of them are like, you know what, we should go up.
Yeah,
go back up.
Yeah. I'm done.
I'm done.
Yeah, they did a thing on there's a YouTube channel where the guy, it's just so funny because like some of these nerds, this is their time to shine. They've got a sub channel. It's like, what? We're on, and they're just doing these things. But it was really interesting because they're talking about like how fast the human body reacts to things, like how fast it takes for you to react to something, looking at it or hearing it, and then how fast that sub at that depth would implode. There's not even close to being able to even register with your eyes. It would happen so fast that it would be completely over. Like thousands of a second.
That's the fascinating thing, because either you're trapped on the bottom, or you implode, right? So either you have the best death, where like you're just living your life, and then before you could even snap your fingers, you're
dead.
Don't
think them rich motherfuckers
you're completely dead.
Virtual reality they could put on down in the bottom there and do like like they're running around and shit. Come on, for the money they pay, they must have like the ability to do a virtual reality. Like, oh, turns out our submarine thing's going to end in death, but if you'd like to take another adventure, go bowling maybe.
Bowling on the Titanic.
I don't think they had room to wear shoes.
Yeah,
I don't even think.
I think it was one of those things. Yeah, we're like, hey, guys, shoes off in the capsule. Shoes off.
Yeah, the kid probably broke out some coke and did it before it was all over. Like, fuck it, I'm not hiding this from Dad anymore.
I hope he came out as gay.
That's the one who is, if it was just another Thurston Howell, it would have made it a fun tragedy for all, but it was like, kind of a bummer because, I mean, I remember going on them family trips where we just went around to post offices. If we would have gotten imploded, we would have imploded going to getting our first day cover stamped. I don't think I would have deserved it, but my dad, fuck him.
Yeah.
Or who even gives a shit? Yeah,
wait, Andy, remind me what that was. You were getting first day issues.
So the first day, I guess it was I don't know if it was even a stamp. It might have just been a fucking stamp, like that.
A rubber stamp.
A rubber stamp on a stamp.
Yeah, so you get
canceled?
I don't even know. I mean, it was like my dad's, Beanie Babies or whatever. Like maybe if first day covers turn into something, we'll be rich. As it turns out, they were fucking, right there with milk cap covers and
Bogs.
Yeah, Boggs. He got that, and then coins. He had coin books and shit, but it's like he collected garbage.
So, but yeah, the weird stuff. You guys,
the coins were
rolling around somewhere.
Yeah, like when we had the one guy who lived there, and he stole all my dad's. He stole a bunch of those, So he'd take the quarters out and use them for video games, which is like, you dumb motherfucker, those coins were worth at least 27 cents. But my dad was bummed because it was like, I got to be the detective, and I went out and searched this guy's shit and wasn't much of a detective.
Oh, that's where you learned it. That's when you started rifling through people's rooms.
Oh, I was,
he was already doing that.
My brothers, none of us had any respect for each other's property. Whoever was there by themselves was the one who owned all the shit.
I think that's a possession is 9/10 of the law, sort of thing.
But whoever was like, Jeff was the one who would just kind of squirrel he was the one who, if you, were to rob later in life, would have had the trinkets that you wanted. He had I don't know, there wasn't much value of shit, but we had like old soldiers, like metal or whatever, cast iron, whatever the first little play soldiers, we had those. And those are like just shit like that would be like kind of cool, and then it would disappear. And then it would be like, that's where it would end up throughout. Historically, it would end up in Jeff's collections or Rex.
Andy, your childhood was like one long white elephant game.
Yeah. My dad had a bunch of shit, and he didn't let anyone look at it, but it would, when he was gone, and I didn't even want to look at this shit, but it was like, it was forbidden. So I could dig through boxes of first day covers and stamps and shit. Like, what's so fucking, why is this so, taboo? It's boring.
He just knew you guys would fucking ruin it with your grubby little fingers and your fucking.
Well, he just didn't like, he had it in a certain order. Which is bullshit. He was a hoarder, but that was what he was like, it was in an order. You fucking order. You got a box full of fingernail clippers. Tell me which one you bought first. Is this number one? All right, we'll put that number one.
Why would you have a box full of?
He had a thing when he was in a wheelchair. Well, he was in a wheelchair most of my childhood, but he had a backpack, and that's just like it was like a backpack, but it was on the back of his wheelchair, and it's like a purse.
Yeah, you keep little
and you put little shit in there. He'd either have to pull the thing off, and then so he never did that. He'd go fumble through it, and it was always a bummer. And then he would accuse people of like taking these, was in that in particular. It's like, oh, somebody
then get a new pair of fingernail clippers and add them to the backpack.
Yeah. So eventually, like, after we were sorting through the estate as they were, and it was like, I found a box and it had like a bunch of them. It was like, I'd go through and there's like more and more. I was like, holy shit, I found, he complained about this for 20 years.
Mystery solved.
Yeah, he had them all. It's like he was so afraid that somebody would take them, that he would take them, and put one away.
Andy, I love that your dad is missing something, and he accuses all of you of stealing them when you guys are stealing shit all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He was right to fucking think you guys were doing it because you were.
And you should be grateful that, like he couldn't get to his toes. So if anybody, used the toenails, it wouldn't have been him anyway. So, but he was, he had
maybe that's why he kept the clippers, because it's like, he says, hey, you want to clip my toenails? Oh, sorry, Dad.
No, nobody would.
Dad, can't do it.
I guess my mom did that, but no.
Can't find any Oh, right here, son.
Yeah, it was a thing. I mean, he would accuse, I got accused of just walking off. Oh, you walked off with him. Well, I can walk. I mean, it was like a slur. My dad in a wheelchair would say, hey, I'll bet you just walked off with him. Probably. If I held him, I probably did walk off with him, because that's something I'm able to do. Do you have a problem with it?
So what you guys would do is you would borrow the clippers, and then you wouldn't return them. And then when he needed them because he was stuck in the chair, he couldn't go around looking for him. And he didn't rummage through your stuff like you did his.
And here's what another one he did is in the laundry room, he had his tools or whatever. He had these cabinets, and people would just, I'd go look for a basketball valve or whatever and take it, and I wouldn't put shit back. It's not my area of things or whatever. I take it, and then whatever, it's just gone. It's, but my
mean
dad,
like the little thing to pump up your
Valve
basketball?
yeah, and
Oh,
he
no,
would have
the needle.
So
The
after
needle.
you pumped up your basketball, you would not put it back?
Well, I'd leave it in the pump or whatever. It wasn't like, but my dad would have like little.
But wait a
lists
minute.
of
So
things.
think about, but Andy, then the next time you needed to pump up your basketball, what happened?
Go down and swipe one at the store, or
They are small. That's their fault.
You can never find, there's never a good place, but my dad had a place for him. That was the outrageous thing, is none of us would put stuff back. And then he wrote some more, probably this is, some of the Proverbs, when he wrote some of those out about putting stuff back, or, thou shalt not take something, and leave somewhere else or whatever. Okay, that one might have been me, but then he put stuff under lock and key with these things, and I know for a fact that I won't say it was Gary, but it rhymes with it, and he would just take a screwdriver that he didn't put back where it belonged, and he would take the lock and key off, and he would use whatever he wanted and not necessarily put it back at all. A couple of times would come, dad would come home, and you're like, what do? You put him in the chair and then get caught, somebody's going to be in trouble, or do you try to cover up for somebody? That I would just like let him get in the chair and go, oh, looks like, oh, God damn it, somebody's horsing around with my he go through it, and he knew, he'd pretty much know what was missing by a eyeball in it and shit.
Did he ever go any deeper than that, like to accuse one person in particular, like
Jerry?
He would tell you, it was one of the others. Yeah. And sometimes he'd be like, oh, Andy, oh, well, I'm Andy. Oh, well, yeah, it was me, but I'm the one you're talking to. So
that little cocksucker Andy.
Yeah. That's what I would have liked to be challenged on, being a liar. He would just go, yeah, you're probably lying, and then they would leave it at that. Oh, probably doesn't make me cry. And say you're probably lying. There's an 8% chance I'm telling the truth. Or stick with it too. That's always a good one. Lie, and then even when people know you're guilty, and then keep the lie going till people just get tired of accusing you. I wasn't good at it. I could be broken pretty easily. Plus, you cry around, when I was a kid, you just put up some tears and that solved it. It was like you apologize and you forgive, everything's all, just throw out some.
Well, you're a pretty cute kid, so you could just crank up.
Yeah. To lip out.
Your brothers probably knew how to really twist the knife too.
Yeah, they could. I mean, yeah, it's like a fine line between acting and, being a meltdowner. And I was a melt. I wasn't, but it was like,
they were really
same
fucking
stuff.
with you.
Yeah. I mean, they would have been great directors. It's like, okay, turn the screw, and then action. And then, oh man, that was an emotional, you really got to my emotions on that. You really
found my motivation there, Jeff. Thanks. I mean, Rex. Thank you.
Yeah, mysterious racer Rex.
Oh, fuck.
So, Erickson, anything special about the Abbott brothers?
I don't know why you guys keep calling them the Abbott brothers. They're the Avett brothers.
Avett.
They were fucking great. It was a fantastic show. My first show at Red Rocks.
Yeah, that place is.
I recommend seeing a show there. It's incredible. It's not only is it visually stunning.
That's a place you two did.
Classically, you two made it famous with the big flag waving.
Yeah.
Bloody Sunday video back in the day, because there's these giant rock formations on each side of this. It's a natural amphitheater, and then those are all lit up with lights and shit all the time, and but the sound reverberates off of that, and it's just it's really fantastic.
Yeah.
The downside, a lot of steps.
Yeah.
It's a hike.
Yeah.
Like, hey, here you are. You want to go to the bathroom? You're gonna go down some steps.
And it was like a couple of weeks before the concert you went to, they had a hailstorm, which they've been getting these fucking freakish hailstorms, and people were in their seats, and they didn't get out of there without a lot of injuries.
It was a whole thing because Red Rocks allegedly ignored the National Weather Service for 8 minutes and gave a warning 2 minutes from when the storm cell hit, and a crowd of people were pelted with baseball-sized hail, which is big.
Yeah, holy shit.
So that was fucked up. And we were aware of that because there was actually it was kind of like the weather for the opening act there was some rain, there was some wind. We're like, ah, shit, but we were kind of ready for it. But there's a lot of fucking steps. And then on top of it, we get an Airbnb, and I'm like, this was my trip. I planned it. It's for Carrie's birthday. It's to see my daughter. It's twofold. So I planned the whole thing. I get the Airbnb, I get the plane tickets, I get the concert tickets, I get everything. I get this Airbnb next to my daughter's apartment. And the selling point on this Airbnb was that it had a rooftop fire pit area. You could go on the roof. I'm like, oh, that'll be perfect for Mitchell and I. We can end our night with a drink and smoke a bowl on the roof and relax. Beautiful. And it was very like new and you know, it looked like a new place. So, oh, it's good. We get there. Yeah, it's got a rooftop. It's 4 stories, 1 bedroom. So you come in on the ground floor and there's a bathroom there, but you have to immediately go up the steps. Go up the steps to the living room, living room, kitchen on the first floor, or the, you know, one flight up. Then the next flight up is the bedroom with a bathroom. And then the next flight up after that is the roof. So what it comes down to is wherever you are in the place, if you want to leave that room, you have to go up or down a flight of steps every single fucking time. And we're like, oh my God, this is like, we're talking to each other from different floors. Like, hey, bring this out. I don't want to go back to like, and as we would go down, we were like, if you're ever on a floor with a bathroom, you utilize that bathroom while you're there. Like, you don't pass it up because we might not be on this floor again. So we did that for a couple of days. And then we get out to Red Rocks and we park our car and we walk up a bunch of fucking steps. And then we get to our seats, and then we're like, oh, we want to get a fucking taco. Oh, let's get a beer. Oh, let's go down a bunch of fucking steps and back up a bunch of fucking steps. And we're like, Jesus Christ. Colorado people don't give a fuck. They love that shit. They're all hikers and they think it's all cool. And, you know,
that area around, you probably just went to the concert, and then but if you're ever there during the day, that's a cool area you can go there. You can actually go into the
it's a national park.
You can go into the performance place, and we
visited Red Rocks when we moved from Peoria to LA, and we were at Bisbee.
Oh, okay, yeah. It looks like a fun town. We did it on
a Saturday. We hung out there. It was great. We saw a guy there's like a famous guy who's still doing it, where he does he goes down the steps of Red Rocks. Like the benches are like, you know, they're super fucking wide, which is good because you're kind of fucked up and you're on these.
It's bench seating all in the amphitheater.
It's all like bench seating, right? And concrete. But the area, the row in front of you is a good 3 feet in front of you, each row. So that's nice, you know, like you can stand up and be kind of fucked up and you're like, oh, I can kind of lose my balance. You're not going to tumble over into the fucking row.
Stepping on toes to get out.
Yeah.
It's probably,
But the day we were there on that Saturday, this motherfucker was doing push-ups down the fucking whole thing. He would go down one row with his feet above his head and he would do a push-up, and then he would crawl forward one more and do another one. He was going all the way down the fucking think there's 89 or 90 rows of seats.
What was this for?
Just some asshole doing his fucking cardio on a Saturday when we visited there, because like people do yoga there. There's a yoga there in the morning. They do all, people running up the steps.
Nature jackers
Off in the corner looking at the rocks.
The guy, the push-up guy has to get there before the nature jackers. It's a problem.
But the venue itself was fucking great. I mean, it's just and the Avett Brothers were fucking awesome. So
did you cry?
I didn't cry, but I did have a lot of Mitchell cried a little bit on one of the songs. I did have a nice moment of having my daughter and my love, Carrie Mitchell, in each arm, like, all right, this is it. Remember this moment, like,
yeah.
Take it in. This was a fucking thing.
And you're thinking, I should have got some Molly. No.
I had some Molly in my wallet,
you did?
But we didn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't think it like Humphreys McGee. I felt under medicated, but I don't know that I would feel that way with that band. No,
Avett Brothers is all about feeling like they're just like legit, like they'll tap into your Humphreys is a drug. Jam bands are all about doing the drugs. Avett Brothers are just they're good.
Did you see Dexter's wife or sister?
Who?
Dexter Morgan's sister?
No, Jennifer Carpenter.
Yeah,
no, she was not.
She's married to one of the bros.
Married to Seth Avett. Yeah, I could do. Listen, I know we could do a Succession thing because Chad finally saw the end of Succession. We could talk about the Avett Brothers for hours. That's how much I have on them.
Are they white guys?
I don't want to go into that.
We're done.
Don't want to do. You want to light that candle.
Yeah.
They're white guys, right?
At least we've all seen Succession. 3 other people don't know anything about the Avett Brothers.
The Avets. Yeah, listen to some Avett Brothers, guys. Do yourself some good. But we did a lot of steps. We did a lot of stair climbing, and my calves were strong coming out of there.
Nice.
Yeah, it would be that would be something to be able to do that every day. That elevation, and
the elevation is no joke either. I know that Bisbee's at elevation too, and it never. I guess I just don't do shit in Bisbee. Like I got, I'm on the compound to just hang out at the fun house. You don't really feel it. The times I've gone jogging in Bisbee, I felt it. But like in Denver, we were always doing something, and you just always feel like you can't quite get a deep breath. You're just kind of always like a little bit lethargic, like I just don't have that much energy, and that's what it is. You just can't fucking get enough oxygen. It's like your blood's already oxygen depleted from the start.
So what Delaney, when she'd have to pass her senior test, she'd have to skate a full program. And it took her a long time. She finally did pass it, but she was talking about, taking it in Oregon or somewhere where she didn't have,
train in Colorado, do the thing in Oregon where you really be set up,
I think she passed it in Colorado. She finally did pass it, and it was funny. Not funny, but she competed once as a senior lady. Like she was, the senior ladies are probably all 16, 17, and she's in her, mid 20s or late 20s, and passed, or not late 20s, mid 20s, passing the test, and then competed with them. So she took last place in it, but it was broadcast, and she was like, her name, and it said senior lady skater. And I didn't, stick around for last place. Or anything, but
all those years of driving her to, you're like, I'm not here to see.
Yeah, no, I know the place. But I went to those where she would get last place and hoping for better, obviously, or whatever. But to go out and know that you're gonna get last place, and you're and you still do it, that's pretty cool.
Well, Delaney's amazing, and she put up with you going to her ice skating programs and then being, coming off a 3-week unbookables tour.
Oh yeah, that was bad.
And then hurting your back and rolling down a ski hill and not being able to walk. So you have to roll your way in, literally roll your way to the front door of the place up against it.
Well,
like a fucking, like a slug.
Fortunately, one of the mothers we're staying with another skater and her mother, and that mother was she was always talking about the pills she was taking and shit.
So I was
like, I crawled like a soldier into her room when they were gone and got the meds I needed. So that I'm sure helped out that I was on the proper medication for that, and plus keeping her from them. That's what I was.
That's good.
That was like a meltdown mother. Like the mother would cry. It was like, it's tough to be around, the kids and their energy. But when a mother cries, it's just not much that can be said.
It's
later.
hard, dude.
Yeah.
It's hard. You watch your kids.
There's a lot of emotion in those the parents, right?
Here's the thing: like ice skating is brutal because it's a singular sport. Like your kid's the only one out there. Like my daughter Olivia did not do anything like that, but she played soccer. But she was the keeper, which is the ice skating of being on the soccer team, because you're separate from the rest of the team, and like. Your experience watching your child play goalie is that your child is not involved in the action at all, and then intensely involved in the action.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just goes from one end to the other, and then if your kid fucks up, then it's like
one move could lose the game, whereas
the game, it's
like forward or a midfielder can fuck around all they want.
The pressure is immense. And the life lessons are learned, because Olivia wasn't great at soccer. She wasn't terrible, but she wasn't great. But she's now a critical care nurse because she can handle fucking pressure. It doesn't bother her anymore because she failed so many times at soccer.
Cost the team. Disappointed folks.
Cost the team regionals, man.
Yeah.
Metamora beat Morton.
That's a weird dynamic in ice skating, is you just you can blame the judges or whatever, but then it's like there's nothing much you can it's like you lost, you didn't score well, could we talk about something else now? We drove all the way to Central Washington to get last place, and now we're gonna have a 5-hour drive where we just keep reliving it.
Andy, did your parents ever help you, support you in any kind of endeavor like that, sporting or anything?
I mean, it was all just team sports, but not. I mean, they bought me.
He was on the tennis team. Remember?
I played tennis. I mean, but yeah, no, not really. I mean, I never had tennis lessons or anything. It's just kind of a free range, It's just like there's this community center, and fortunately, it was more basketball than shady sex or whatever. It was it was a big creepy building that could have been used for whatever. Fortunately for me, I just went and played ball there and all that. But no, I mean, I know when I played sports, I did go to one basketball camp, and that was about it. But I mean, I think maybe my dad being physically limited, I don't know. That's bullshit. Why didn't my dad go to my sporting events? Because he didn't want to get in the car and, same as if he had legs. It just took a couple extra minutes, but I don't remember him rolling into the gym, and he could have. And then I would have been like, Coach, I need to get into the game. God damn it. My old man rolled out.
Just put me in.
I want to show him how I can walk.
Rub it in.
That would have been the ultimate burn for your dad. Like, oh, great, son. I come out to the football game and I get to see you sit on the bench, just like I sit there.
Here's what he would do, though. He would get that. My mom would drive him and park him at the football games so he could kind of see the field. But I don't think he really was watching. He was just there. And he'd sit in the car, and then occasionally he would honk.
What was the honk to signal?
I think it was to tell Dory to get back to us. He wanted to leave or whatever. But it seemed like he was being, like cheering on the team at times. But he would people would stand in front of the car or what. Maybe that was why he would honk and people were blocking the view sometimes too.
I mean, they will take you. I mean, high school, they'll get you out of it. They'll put you right in the front row of the game.
He could have, he just didn't want to,
Yeah, but if he didn't want to,
he was real selective about it.
I mean, you don't have a horn when you're up there. You don't get your access to a horn.
And everybody notices when you leave early.
He could have been like that guy doing the push-ups at Red Rock, come out in his wheelchair and do wheelies and shit. But he sat in the car and didn't he didn't get involved in the sports shit. He did complain when I got cut from the traveling team, and then I quit anyway. But he was working, he thought that was, he didn't probably know about the black tape and the.
He was on your side though. That was bullshit.
Yeah. He'd call small time authority on their bullshit. Yeah. Like he didn't like cops. And he didn't like other teachers and coaches. You
knew the bullshit that was involved in you getting cut from the travel team.
He was a teacher, so
you're a senior. You don't get cut from the travel team when you're a senior.
Oh no, I was starting up. I was starting up until the first game of the season.
This is the best part. We keep talking about this game. Andy was a starter. He ended up not only not a starter, but cut from the team entirely.
I got cut.
He lost 52-0.
And I got yelled at. I got yelled at by Spike Perry, who was a douchebag. Spike Perry is a fucking asshole. He was like the guy who hangs around. He was like Livin. He was still hanging around and coaching, instead of just smoking weed with the guys. He now was a coach, and he got in my face, grabbed my face mask, twisted my head, which it's like I already wasn't really feeling like playing football, and then you hurt my neck.
Hold the squeeze and hurt my neck.
And yelled my face, and then and then got replaced by a player. Sorry, Neil. I know you listen, but I was a better DB. I just got burned, and it was an emotional decision. Spike Perry wasn't even supposed to be talking to me. Fucking douchebag, let alone grabbing, physically assaulting.
Wait a minute, let's go back. So you got burned on a touchdown?
A couple of them. The guy is just like I don't know if he scouted it or I mean, I don't, I was probably pretty a regular on taking what I thought was speed too, that it was truckers. I was taking too much caffeine. Yeah, and I just, I needed to just tell myself, like you do sometimes when you're on coke, slow it down a little, man. And I think I was too, like I was like, this guy was going to burn me if I would have stayed there and then just started backpedaling, but I would run up and then he was just fucking gone. He was a legitimate athlete. And on the second one, I remember watching it going, fuck, that was just, it was a well-thrown ball. I was about 10 yards in back of it. Going, oh, fuck, and that's a loop right in there. And hear the crowd moaning. It was a home game. So and there was probably a murmur.
All of a sudden you hear your dad honking.
Yeah, people rifling through the roster to see who that fucking number 84 was. That number 84 needs to be on the fucking bench.
Oh, shit.
Well, I hope you people in that crowd are happy because I quit now. You never got a chance to see me play football again.
Oh my God.
Even though I quit, I did turn out for the 2 alumni football games, and there was a lot of quitters, a lot of bums, people that wasn't our best football athletes. It's just whatever losers were in town that summer.
Like a Thanksgiving holiday or a Christmas holiday pickup game or something.
Yeah, it was like one of the dumber, like a fundraiser to get football gear or whatever for the programs, but putting 20, anybody over the age of 18 putting on football gear that hasn't played in a while. It's ridiculous. But some guys were in their 30s, and it was just like fucking shit, I'm sure they raised their stupid money or whatever. They did it for 2 years, and there was like knee and back injuries.
It's got to be a couple guys taking it way too
serious. I was taking it as seriously as you do when you're drinking in the huddle. I had a little pint tucked into my you didn't really need those thigh pads. tuck a drink right into your thigh pad. But my action
same size, right?
What's that?
The flask would be the same size as a thigh pad.
Just about, yeah. And the one we played in Myrtle Point, I ran into this dude. I was like, that's when I was like, I'm not really gonna do this, but I ran into one of the bigger fucking dudes and threw like an elbow, and he did like, like if you were shoving a redwood tree. That's what I like shoved into this, like, what the fuck am I doing? It's like, like I thought I was on a football field. It's like, no, I'm basically in a Coos County bar, and I just shoved the toughest guy in the fucking bar for no good reason. And fortunately, he didn't decide to kick my ass, but he was the one fucking guy. He was the one who he just shoved through people and injure them. He was like, yeah, let's probably not do this anymore. Hey, there's Lady Bird.
Yeah,
she's getting sucking on the AC.
Dude, we got to crank down here. We don't need a multi-split or whatever it was. We got
oh yeah, Chaille, didn't you go? You didn't go to Austin again, did you?
No, I opted to drive Tracy back out after our trip to Memphis. So I'll drive out after. Yeah,
he'll be back.
I enjoyed the Stanhope podcast with Chad and Ggreg discussing Hero Derek. Yeah, oh man,
I've heard this story.
Yeah, I think that Doug should do a podcast where he just tells Derek stories after Derek tells him, and then Doug tells a dumber.
Like he does the voice.
Yeah, he does the dummy version of what Derek said, and then Derek chimes in and says something dummy too. It's in a little different cadence. It's like if Forrest Gump had somebody explaining Forrest Gump
in front of him.
But yeah, that's quite a story.
Yeah, that was wild.
Just so you know, it's the story of the gal who was staying at Derek's house, who thought that the other people in the house were going to harvest her organs. So she rummaged in the dead of night, found a rifle in Derek's bedroom, loaded it.
Stop. Go to the podcast.
Yeah.
Stop. Because it's an incredible story.
Yeah.
It's an incredible story. And stop right there. If you don't know the story, just fucking.
And you have to hear the dueling Dereks. Doug's impression of if you were anybody but Derek in the room, you'd be insulted. That's the portrayal.
At one point, I caught myself trying to do it, and I'm like, "No way, you do it."
I backed off. Yeah, I mean, it was very interesting too, because I mean, I live 2 blocks from where all this took place, and it's weird. I mean, there were 3 people in the house besides the gal. And the other things that were happening, like that she was doing to ensure that no one was going to live, was fucking bananas.
Yeah.
And hearing the stories and everything, like what happened, but then hearing the gal tell you exactly like how the everything that happened, that transpired and everything like that was very interesting. So
I would have been a satisfied listener at just hearing how Derek asked that girl got shot out. I was like, you go camping? And he goes, well, I was homeless for a long time. And it's like, what? So you just ask her, hey, do you want to go camping? It's like, this is my chance to shine. I can really be outdoorsy.
That's his move.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. It's just, you forget how, delightful. Well, and Derek gave me, he gave me cough drops too, when I was hanging out with him. He mentioned that. So I was
really?
like, wow, yeah. Would you like a cough drop? He offers them like, it's like, I think he doesn't like people clearing their throats around him.
So he tries to head it off.
Be like, yeah, like if I just went around with a Tupperware container for people who crinkle their bag. Go, here, why don't you dump them in here? That way you won't have to make all that racket with the bag.
This will keep them fresher.
This will keep them fresher and keep me from getting fucking mad.
I thought the cough drop thing was because his house was so dry, which I thought was a weird.
Well, yeah, he's in. It's like watching Hoarders or something. It's like it's a world you wouldn't want to sit across from, but it's interesting to hear about it. You know, like I'd be more interested in just hearing Derek on a podcast than to sit and hear him in person. And he'd be like, I know he wanted to hug last time. He's like, during the pandemic, I talked to him and he was like fixated on, he wanted to hug. I'm like, well, let me just hear you tell a story. I'd rather do that.
Was the hug as some kind of a commentary on we're not going to let this COVID-19
yeah, well, like,
be human?
Yeah, no, like we'll get together and then when we get together, I'm going to give you a hug. Like, well, let's cross that bridge when we get to it.
Chaille, I think it was because I got the same thing. I think it was he went a long time with the lack of physical contact.
Oh yeah,
he just wanted a hug.
Mm-hmm. That's what I said when I was getting bled. It's like, I haven't had physical contact since the pandemic started. When I got the blood, I went in. I had to do that. I had a doctor's appointment. So when I get a doctor's appointment, there's always, you do a lab work first, but this just said I had to go in for a doctor's appointment. So I went in and then I got there and they said, it's just labs. Like, and I was like dreading that because it's like, I need to prepare for labs.
You need to mentally prepare.
Mentally prepare. Yeah. Well, mentally is part of it, but also I need to drink a lot of water and shit, so it's easy. And then I let it's like, which vein?
Well, Andy, before you go into labs, depending on what you're going to do, if it's blood work, you're not supposed to eat anything like 8 o'clock the night before. So you probably, I don't know how the story's going to go, but there is a physical preparation as well as mental.
Yeah, well, and so anyway, but I'm just going in for the blood. I didn't know it, and then the lady that fucking, it's like, I haven't been there in a while or whatever. I had she gives me 4 forms to fill out. Like, well, now I don't have glasses and I didn't know I was going to be doing labs. So I got to, now I was just going to go see that dude. And then my biggest preparation for that was not to wear a shirt that said Auburn, because he always brings up that I always wear Auburn gear. So that was it. I didn't drink all the water. And then they go, which vein? And I always let them decide, because if they fuck up, then it's on them. And I go, well, which? And she goes, this one looks good. And then it hurt. And she was going, moving it around and making, like beginner noises, like, oh, ooh, or, that kind of shit.
Oh, man.
And then she pulls it out. I go, did you get it? She goes, no. And I was like, I look down, there's blood. There's a couple of drops going down that arm. And then so she must have, I didn't ask her, but she had to be fucking new. And then she goes into the other one, same thing, moving it around a bunch and making, and then you're not getting any, are you? Nope. And I go, let's just put a fucking halt to this right now. And she goes, no, I'm supposed to, if I have to do it a third time, I have to go get somebody else. And I said, no, we're done.
Oh my God.
Both arms are bleeding because she's moving the needle around or something. So neither of them, she was like they always automatically tape that shit and put a thing over it. And I'm like looking at both like a fucking junkie. And so then she wraps them up, and I canceled it though, but I'm not, I said, I'm coming back fucking hydrated, and I'm going to keep an eye. I didn't tell her this, but I'm going to keep an eye out. No gingers. That's my policy. If I recognize her, it'll be her, but
Is that just for phlebotomists, or is that just in general?
I did want to go up and look at there because you don't have nobody was wearing the mask, and I wanted to see what the nose and mouth looked like on my nurses. But I felt like that'd be kind of creepy to just go up and, oh, okay. Thought you had a better mouth.
Speaking of what mouths look like, Kilroy, you want to aim your camera down a little bit? Because you lean forward a lot when you, there you go. That's probably
Kilroy.
Appreciate that.
I'm looking out over a shelf. So yeah,
let me brag on my daughter for a second. She's part of this thing at the hospital called the Rapid Response Team, where they react to shit that's happening in the hospital so that they don't have to take the patient down to the ER or that people go to them. And she had to learn how to draw blood by using a sonogram. So that's how she does it now, where like she can draw blood on you no matter what your veins look like, because she's looking at a fucking TV camera when she does it. And like they call her in when they've had an Andy situation where they can't get it, and they're like, oh, she can come in and do it. So
there's some people who have and that helps a lot, but there's some people who have a touch for it and they can move a needle a little bit and still get product.
Yeah.
But that was not what was going on with this.
It's a tough thing to do, man.
Yeah.
I think it's like any job. There's some people that are really good at it. And there's just as many that suck.
Can't do it.
And there's a lot in the middle there somewhere, because I've had the same experience where they were trying to get I could feel it. I don't look, I just and I could feel them fumbling around, and I'm all like, so you got one yet? He goes, no, not yet. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on over there? And then it's the tube, and then they're putting the needle in, and I'm like, all right, so we're about done. She's like, nope, still getting this one. And I'm like, then my head starts spinning. And I ended up fucking passing out.
Oh man.
And I woke up. I was in a chair like in a high school, like that has a little thing like you slide in sideways. And I figured out that's why, so you don't fall on the ground.
Yeah.
And the gal who had done that, she freaked out and just fucking split. And there's a doctor over me going like, what happened here? And they're like, and I could hear him. I'm coming around. He's like, "Get her out of here! Get her out of here!" And I'm like, "Like I'm gonna ID her." And then finally, they ended up going like, "Yeah, so like, what happened?" I'm like, "You tell me. There's no blood. She barely got any in. I still have to get the blood work done." And they go, "Okay, we'll do a butterfly thing." And it's like what they do for infants. Yeah. Like they tap a fucking vein or something up top. And I'm like, "Hey, guys, let's just do this from now on. Let's just go to the baby one, and I'm your man." Yeah. He was, and I quit going to that clinic because of that, and I go to the hospital now. There's someone there has the touch, and I don't even think about it anymore. Mm-hmm. That was a nightmare.
That would be a good job for like exit junkie. You reformed, you get your shit together, you're off to fucking shit. You're like, you know what I'm good at? The one skill I do have,
healing needles.
I could hit a vein, dude.
Yeah.
No problem. You show me what part of the body you want me to hit it on, I can hit it.
If I walked into a lab and saw a junkie, I'd be like, right over here, brother.
I'm with you, Andy. I would make sure I hydrate up really good if I know I have to go in.
That way I've done my thing.
Yes, veins though across my.
Yeah, there were a lot of things you probably should have done or told them before. Why did you get one, Erickson?
I haven't had one for a long time, but I do. That's where they get me, right there on the.
Oh yeah.
When I was in the Army, that's where I used to do my own IV into my top of my hand right there.
Oh, for the beat.
Just to rehydrate.
Hydration.
Yeah, I got good.
By the way, speaking of rehydrating, Carrie Mitchell set a record at the comedy club. They had Joe's nurse came in and had IV bags for everybody because everyone got really drunk on the 4th of July. So the next night she came in and she hydrated everybody up. Nice. And Carrie Mitchell sucked her hydration bag down faster than anyone this woman had ever seen in her life. She's like, holy shit, that's the fastest this has ever gone.
Have you ever drank water, young lady?
Was it
really good at? She's just another thing that Carrie Mitchell is really good at.
Was it
I'm
saline?
proud of her. Yeah, it's a a saline drip. But for Mitchell, it was not a saline drip. It was a saline fucking suck.
It's like a sponge.
Yeah. There was another comic there, Brian Simpson. He had been sitting in the green room for like an hour, and Carrie sat down next to him and like, all right, bye. Yeah, very impressive. So
that's hilarious. Tell her congratulations. What a
yeah, she's got so many skills that we didn't even realize.
I once had it. My Jenny was trying to give me an IV to hydrate me up when I was sick once, and couldn't get it to go in through my skin. Couldn't get the needle would go in, but the little catheter wouldn't follow. And she's like, what the hell? So she called the nurse friend of hers, and she's like, can you come over and help? And this is like one of the ladies that was really good at it. She came over and she's like, yeah, let me go. She shoves it in, and the catheter crushed up like you're crushing a beer can. And the needle went all the way in, and the little catheter thing that's supposed to go just crushed up. She's like, what the fuck do you have, elephant skin? She goes, I've never seen that happen before in my life. I don't know why that didn't go in. I was like, I don't know what the fuck that is. I haven't had to have an IV since then, so I don't know.
Man, maybe you got elephant skin.
All that fucking living in Arizona, you got that catcher's mitt fucking skin.
That's what I figured. I was like, I just don't take care of myself.
Yeah. Moisturizer. I never heard of the shit.
Yeah.
Moisturizer. I barely know her.
I use it when do you use moisturizer? When my skin hurts.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I am. I fucking finally put lotion on, and then it's just like disappears into your skin. Like if you're staying in a deck and the wood's extremely dry.
I don't even rub it in, Andy.
Yeah.
Just slather it on, and then pretty soon it goes.
Yeah, that's something I would have told my younger self. Hey man, put a little lotion. The lotion's for other parts of your body besides your dick, man. The only part of my body that's got any good skin on it is my penis.
Look, young Andy, we know that eventually you're gonna put this lotion on your dick, but before you do that, put some on the rest of your body, your elbows, for instance, your elbows.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, yeah. Definitely. Elbows are dry ass fucking things. I blew some weed in my eyeball there when Ggreg was talking, and it went
like lit weed.
Yeah, and then it was burning.
I had safety glasses on too.
I know. It went right under my these are they're like 3D glasses. They're not for helping in the shop with shards, smoky shards going up. It's the future we're going to be living in, man. We're just going to be hanging out, and then ash is going to get into our eyes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if the mudslides and water don't take us.
Yeah. Mudslide, fire. I mean, I like the idea of being, extreme heat. I like the idea of being pelted in the summer by golf ball, like a baseball size fucking, hail. That would be like, I mean, as far as unexpected, you're like, no way. I can't believe this shit.
Do you think everyone appreciated that? Is that what
No, I've had a lot of them were complaining, and Red Rock, and it wasn't. I don't know who the concert was, but it wasn't.
I don't remember. It wasn't anyone I'd heard of.
No Patrol.
No, it wasn't.
Not anybody you'd bring a mitt to.
Yeah.
Right. But like that kind of shit's gonna be fucking their corn crops are getting wiped out in Colorado from hailstorms and shit. It's just it's interesting. I'm glad to be alive when climate events and weird shit. It's like it's been boring for a long time, and everybody it's just died of things, and now we're getting pandemics and mudslides and fucking catastrophic fires, firenadoes and shit. It's just cool. I mean, it's a cool time if you're in,
we all learned about history, but none of us ever thought we'd be here for the end.
Yeah. Remember Al Gore's movie? And you were like, yeah, fuck Al Gore or whatever. And it's like Al Gore's movie is not even
truth.
Yeah. And the inconvenient truth is all that shit was true, but Al Gore's too fucking boring and up his own ass. And he probably was the wrong guy to take front and center on being the spokesman for it. But I do like him being ripped on South Park as the man bear pig alarmist. If only it would have, I don't know who it could have been, but anybody but Al Gore, maybe. Like fucking.
You mean as a representative for
Susan Sarandon? She's a uptight.
They don't like her either.
Yeah, but she's a chick.
No, it probably needed to be David Attenborough. He's the only one everybody respects.
When it comes to nature,
or Bruce Springsteen.
Maybe Bruce Springsteen if he was going to narrate a movie. I don't know if he's narrated any other movies.
Or actually John Cougar Mellencamp. I know he likes just to be called John Mellencamp now.
You think maybe he'd go back to Cougar for a nature show?
Cougar. Yeah, absolutely. Fuck yeah.
He ruined
Let's give it up for John Cougar. I know that John Cougar is like the white person's like, that's our Marvin Gaye. But I fucking, I'll still, if John Cougar song comes on, volume goes up. We're singing.
Yeah, he's
I'm into it. I know, Andy, you love your Bryan Adams, but I put John Cougar up against Bryan.
I would have liked to see those two fight.
John Cougar better than Bryan Adams.
Yeah,
John Cougar versus Bryan Adams.
Chili dogs.
Yeah. I would say John Cougar would beat the shit out of Bryan Adams back in the day.
Yeah, man. John Cougar had it fucking going on.
He worked on a farm.
Rain on the Scarecrow, Blood on the Plow. That's fucking, that's good.
Cuts
stuff.
Like a Knife. Summer '69.
Nope.
Me and some guys from school had a band and we tried real hard. How hard did you try? One of them got married. They just quit. Fuck that band.
Summer, dude. Summer's wild.
Yeah. Well, I'd say that, I wish I would have leaned more towards
Let's
John
talk
Cougar.
about John Cougar, though. I Need a Lover. Remember I Need a Lover? That was his first song. That's a fucking great.
Didn't he someone else cover that, though?
Maybe, but that was his song, though.
Yeah. I mean, he wrote songs for other people before he made
that song. Like, if you hear the whole thing, too, it's got like, it's one of those weird songs. It's got like a 2-minute long musical intro that they never played on the radio, but man, that's a jam.
Did he even write a song about Meg Ryan? Like her face? Like he kind of wrote a
yeah, Rain on the Scarecrow, Blood on the
Her new face?
He was with her a while there. Like he saw her through the sweet Meg into the the mega face that she had. Yeah. I don't think she was mega face, but that lip thing is kind of, it's definitely
stuff happened.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
I like John Cougar, man.
He
nothing but the best on that guy.
He never did. There was never a disappointment, which he moved on from doing
Pink
pop.
Houses.
Yeah, Pink Houses was great.
Cherry Bomb.
As far as he was never
hits.
I remember listening to a long interview that he did with Howard Stern once. He was really cool.
Yeah, he made a fucking great movie. He made a movie. What was the fucking name of his movie? He made a movie basically about himself, as like a fictionalized version of his life, going back to Indiana with a hot wife. And it was a fucking good movie, and he starred in it.
It's one of the things if I forget about
good shit,
Indiana.
Like, that guy
like John Cougar.
Shit.
I always think of all the negatives about Indiana, but I forget John Cougar Mellencamp. There you go.
Well,
you're redeemable.
He's definitely the best part of Indiana, but he was in Bloomington, so that's like the, that's the Austin of Indiana.
So who sold more records?
Bryan Adams, Spirit soundtrack.
Oh, John Cougar sold more records than Bryan Adams. That's not even fucking close. Not even.
No way. Bryan Adams is a soccer mom.
I would have no idea.
Bryan Adams.
I
Bryan Adams
John
put out
Cougar
more,
sold-
I'm sorry, John Cougar sold more records than Bryan
John
Adams.
Cougar worldwide has sold 31 million records.
Uh-huh.
Bryan Adams has sold 65 million records.
What?
Cuts like a knife.
That hurts. Put me in that turkey shoot and just fucking slit my throat.
I
What?
was just
Twice as
thinking
many?
about that because of probably
Twice
the
as
Spirit
many?
soundtrack probably sold 30 million.
Well, I mean, Bryan Adams has just regular albums, 14 albums.
But John Cougar did more albums than that.
I don't know. I'm looking for it right now.
And I mean, Bryan Adams did that the Robin Hood soundtrack.
Anything I
was
do it for you.
that was a lot. But there's no way.
Karate Kid 3 or Karate Kid 2, I guess.
Yeah, it looks like John Cougar's got studio albums 24.
Are you counting the Mellencamp years?
I'm counting basically everything on his Wikipedia that says how many
Damn,
albums.
that's incredible. Bryan Adams has sold that
I
many.
think maybe Bryan Adams just went in and edited John
must
Cougar's Wikipedia.
Oh, that could be, yeah.
Dude,
Rivalry there.
twice as many as John Cougar?
That's what it
blows my
says.
mind. That blows.
Well, Bryan Adams, when you get into those soundtracks, and you're, I'm
Let's
sure.
go over the
you know,
song list. Let's look at
Glory of
John
Love
Cougar.
was probably fucking huge, as that was Karate Kid 2.
What was it?
Glory of Love.
Glory of Love.
Oh no, that's Peter Cetera. Excuse me. Fuck, I'm getting my candy ass pop stars. Oh man.
That ain't Canada.
Okay,
shit.
Robin
That's
Hood. It was
Chicago.
Robin Hood. You're right. Robin Hood.
Everything
but
I
Spirit.
do it for you. And Cuts Like a Knife and Summer of '69. Those are like the 3 songs he had. Any other songs in that?
He did a tribute to Lady Diana.
You're thinking of Elton John. How did this guy sell twice as many records as John Cougar? That's insane to me. John Cougar had album after album of fucking white boy bangers.
Heaven.
What? What'd you call me?
Heaven, the song Heaven.
Oh, Heaven. Yeah, that was a good one.
John Cougar's had singles in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and 2010s and 20s. He's definitely, I mean, yeah, it's
Look at the song list. John
seems
Cougar.
weird. I'm looking for a singles list here. So
Everybody
Jack and
steals them.
Diane. I
Turn
Need a
it
Love.
down.
well, his first single was in 78 with I Need a Lover.
Turn It Up, Bryan Adams song, I think.
Taxi Dancer, a little night dance. I don't
Little
know.
Night Dancing. These are all in the first album. This is
Oh,
a
is
great
that a good
album.
one?
And then Jack and Diane was the second album.
Hurt So Good, Jack and
Hurt
Diane.
So Good.
So good.
Hurt So Good. That's bigger than any song. Brian.
Crumbling Down. Remember that one?
When the
Oh,
walls
Pink Houses.
come crumbling down.
The Authority song.
I fight authority. Authority always wins.
Lonely Old
Trying to-
Night.
I know that I got a bunch. I'm right now. I'm just
I'm
I'm gonna
brain blocking.
listen to John Cougar after we get done.
Thank you.
I'm telling you, that Small Town, and
I
then
live in a small
ROCK in
town.
the USA.
ROCK in the USA.
I know there's a lot of Bryan Adams songs that I'm blanking out right
Cherry
now.
Bomb, Paper and Fire.
Straight to the Heart.
God damn it.
Straight to the Heart.
How is it possible that Bryan Adams has sold twice as many records as this guy?
I'm gonna
Canada,
double check this,
cheaper exchange on the money, maybe.
It's a Canada thing.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean,
Well, maybe it's like a thing in Canada where if you're from Canada, they do like that. You know, when you get an Apple, you get the YouTube album on your Apple iPhone. You know, like
Oh,
maybe
they
Canada
automatically get.
maybe you automatically get a Bryan Adams. You know, if you do your taxes, you get a Bryan Adams record in the because that doesn't make any sense to me.
I know as soon as we get done here, I'll be like, oh, that one and that one and that one. But I
There's not
just, it's
Bryan
like,
Adams
I feel
like
like
that.
you know,
Mm.
I'm not
Let's
representing.
go over the Bryan Adams song.
Well,
list.
that's what I mean. I can't think of any right now. I'm like under pressure or whatever. But
No, that's
think maybe-
Queen and David.
oh,
Bowie.
that's David Bowie under pressure. Well, I know there's a lot of cool
No, you
songs.
said the songs. You said them. Cuts Like a Knife.
Yeah,
Summer of '69. Heaven. Everything I do it for you. Those are the 4 Bryan
We're
Adams.
horsies, let's run. Whatever. I don't know. The Spirit soundtrack was can't think any of those, but
I'm looking up his singles. Hold on.
yeah. So I know there's like at least 4. No,
We said 4.
it doesn't. Yeah, I mean, I know I've gotten a greatest hits album from Bryan Adams, and it wasn't very.
I like Bryan Adams and all, but now that we've laid it all out, I mean, there's just not really any comparison.
Well, I think Bryan Adams is an example of Bryan Adams is John Cougar. John Cougar was like, fuck this, I don't want to be John Cougar, I'm going to be Mellencamp, and he did his own thing. Whereas Bryan Adams has always been company rebel. He was like,
so you're saying that Bryan Adams is actually Bryan Adams Mellencamp in real life?
Bryan Cougar. Might as well be Bryan Cougar.
Bryan Cougar Mellon Canada.
Mellon Canada. I mean, they both started out with a rebel kind of image and shit. And
Brian,
you know,
look, I'm not
Mellencamp is
disparaging Bryan Adams, Andy. I don't want you to think.
No, I feel like
I love Bryan Adams. He Cuts Like a Knife was a fucking great song.
When he went off on those songs, when he went off on that China. When he went off on China for his concerts get canceled, that was the final straw for me. That was like, all right, I've been hanging with this guy, and he was supposed to be a rebel. Now he's like hanging with soccer moms and doing Disney soundtracks.
All right, I've confirmed it, Erickson. Go ahead.
And now he's talking about China stew.
Maybe that was going to be his bass player on the road.
I think that was Doobie Brother.
China Girl, China Groove, yeah, China Stew.
China Grove. According to bestsellingalbums.org, Bryan Adams album sales, according to Universal Music Canada, Bryan Adams has sold over 65 million albums worldwide, including 17.5 in the US alone, 5.1 in the UK.
So the rest of them are in Canada.
Best-selling album is Reckless, which sold 12 million copies.
How many?
12 million.
12 million. Now, John Cougar.
Okay, I got to find that. Hold on a second. Jesus.
I bought one of those.
I mean, how is it possible that with all those hits, John Cougar has not sold more records than Bryan Adams?
Yeah, it is weird.
I mean, you just said 12 million in America and 2 million in the UK. The rest have to be in Canada.
Well,
everyone in Canada
we're
required to buy a Bryan Adams record.
If Cougar's listening to this going, why ain't I made more? What's my fucking calling that management company?
How many people are even in Canada? That doesn't even make sense.
It's too many. You're right.
Yeah.
It's like when Trump voters decide that many people could have voted for Biden. It's impossible that Bryan Adams has gotten more votes.
Maybe Bryan Adams
than
bought
make
up a bunch
Indiana great again.
Maybe Canada bought a bunch of records initially to launch his career.
Like Don Trump Jr.'s book.
Yeah, I bought like 20 million copies of his first album. It doesn't even have any hits on it, man. I know his first one had like 2 good songs on it, and then the Reckless had like 3.
I Need the album, first John Cougar album with I Need a Lover is filled with fucking great songs. It doesn't have the hits, like he kind of went a little more pop, but it's incredible. And then all of those rest of we just went through it.
Do you even hear his album he did after his dad died? He's done
Bryan Adams?
No, I don't.
Or John Cougar.
John Cougar,
who's not really. Didn't.
Yeah, he's got depth and all.
See, dude.
He made his band live with him in a farm in Indiana for a while.
That's probably
that's like David Koresh.
Yeah,
he's buried a bus in his yard and
David Koresh, if he would have had a couple of hits, you know.
John Cougar also had one of the best drummers of all time, Kenny Aronoff, who's one of the best fucking rock and roll drummers.
Who would you put in your cult rock and roll band? You got Koresh and Charlie Manson are both musicians.
Well, yeah. Well, Jim Jones is my lead singer.
Oh, Jim Jones is pretty musical. Yeah.
Jim Jones is my lead singer.
He's your, yeah. He's just like fucking image.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, he could do spoken word and it would work.
He's Jim Morrison.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
that right there is a pretty good. You got your three
You got your 3
pack of trouble right there.
And then you put Apple White is that's your bass player. Like, he holds down the fucking
or keyboards.
He's like a little maybe keyboards. Well, I wasn't gonna have keyboards in the band, but now
he
you're
just
right.
look away with them eyes and shit. Whoa.
Yeah.
He's up in the mothership.
Right now.
Which they ripped off Rogan, huh?
I can confirm John Mellencamp sold 31,570,000 albums, including 27.9 million in the United States and 120,000 in the UK. So he had lighter, 120,000 in the UK. He didn't cross.
Wow.
We should get out of NATO. We should leave NATO. If they if they think Bryan Adams is better than John Cougar over there across the Atlantic,
they're voting with their pounds, that's for sure.
They got pear-shaped bodies and rotten teeth, and they don't like John Cougar Mellencamp. Shit.
Wow.
They probably
That's
didn't.
Incredible to me.
It seems like the UK would dig Mellencamp as much as the US.
He's great.
Snobs.
Maybe it's the ROCK in the USA song.
That's an ironic song.
People don't understand it.
Well, Jack and Diane was interracial. That's true.
Oh, I thought you were going to do a Jack.
No, they were
interracial. I thought you were going to do a Jack and Diane.
I think I heard John Cougar himself say that, but that was the original idea, was that it was an interracial couple, Jack and Diane. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Was mention of race in that song.
No,
maybe it was two dudes.
I mean, if you're gonna make shit up, go for it.
Jack and Dion.
Yeah, he was woke, and he was like, "Fuck yeah, I'm gonna put two dudes in here."
Little ditty about Jack and Dion.
Diane was Dave earlier.
Can't be Dave. You need 2 syllables.
Cooking on a chili dog makes sense finally.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, they don't even sell them at that place.
Us the whole time. The ham between his knees.
Summer of '69 was about Bryan Adams and
there we go. It's
camp.
All over.
It was an all-male camp, wrestling camp. Bryan Adams went to.
Wait, let's go over those numbers again, Chaille. So, where did Bryan Adams' album sales come from? If he sold 60 million albums, he sold 20.
65 million albums sold worldwide, 17.5 million in the US, 5.1 million in the UK.
Okay, so that's 22.
John Cougar sold nothing in the UK.
Okay, all right, but that's still only 22.
Did he even set up a merch table?
So where did the other 50 fucking million come from?
But it doesn't.
Huge in Vietnam.
It doesn't break it down like that. So
in John
I'm guessing
Cougar,
if you look at the spirit.
John.
So I could go. There's a lot. 17 million in the UK. I'll do the top 5. 17.5 in the US. 5.1 in the UK. This is Bryan Adams.
Okay.
It's Bryan Adams. 17.5 US. 5.1 UK. 800,000 Switzerland. 340,000 Sweden. We're 50,000 Spain.
How did he get to 660? There's no way.
Well, Germany and Japan. Germany has 2.7 million. Japan has 1.2 million. Canada 5.3 million. Australia 1.4 million. So
just internationally, his songs reach more people.
Nowhere near 60 million records.
Give it to me straight from the heart.
Old age. This is nowhere. We're not even to 40 yet. Where did he? Cuts
like a knife. That's like everybody
recount.
It adds up.
I demand a fucking Kerry Lake, Arizona style fucking. That's fucking. I am at a Bryan Adams Denier. That's what I am.
Well,
a BAD.
I know that I could have, invested my, put my thoughts on Mellencamp back in the day, and I would have grown up better for it. But Bryan Adams is, it's like, I got like his greatest hits album well after it was over, and that didn't rekindle it. And then my daughter in 5th grade likes that movie Spirit, and then wants to get that. So then I make another purchase of a Bryan Adams CD, and it's like, I'm not trying to like, you should listen to this music, Delaney. It's something that I treasured as a young man, and everything. It was like it was like I was trying to not be in that camp anymore. So it was like a bummer that Bryan Adams came back around. And he's kind of a candy ass. And you know what? I think that fucking hiatus, that break that Bryan Adams got, where he was supposed to be out touring, and he got to go back to his estate and clean up his face a little bit, scrub that skin a little harder, and chill out. I think I think he probably, if he's written some new songs, they're probably better than what he had before that.
I'm not trying to disparage Bryan Adams in any way. I mean,
well,
Cuts Like a Knife is a great song. Great song.
But do it for you. He's not somebody as an artist. I could go, wow, this is, it's not like I latched onto the Rolling Stones early on.
I mean, look at John Cougar. He's leaning against a fence. He's staring at barbed wire. That's an artist right there. That's a guy.
You know what? I'll bet he still has that jacket too.
Of course he does.
He doesn't, like people like, oh, jean jackets are out of style or whatever. They'll come back around or whatever. But he
had it before they were in style again, and he still has it.
And he used to wrap it around Meg Ryan's face so he could fuck her.
Acid boy.
Call her little Genie. Oh, Genie. Fuck.
Well, I think we solved that. Bryan Adams is an inferior. What's the tail of the tape though?
Richard.
I think if they were to fight, I feel like Bryan Adams would have him on reach.
I think this would be a good undercard for the Zuckerberg Musk.
Yeah, that's gonna happen now.
Mellencamp v. Adams. Good one.
The fight everybody's wanted.
I'll tell you what, Erickson, I'm doing the numbers here real quick. I pulled up a spreadsheet and I put in the numbers from the
John Cougar's 5'5", I bet. 5'6".
Bryan Adams, with the numbers they gave me,
6 foot,
equals out to 38 million.
Oh yeah. That's not.
Oh yeah. So those numbers
due diligence proving
the government of Canada, Justin Trudeau, not only illegally locking down all of Canada, has juiced the Bryan Adams numbers. I mean, this is bullshit. Honestly, it's
now do Rush versus the Stones. It'll be all like lopsided. Rush is that?
No, I mean, well,
that's where you'll discover there's a disparity that Canada is fucking juicing us.
Uncovered some shit here.
The band Triumph outsold Journey. Remember Triumph?
Triumph was a great band. Not only was the album Rock and Roll Machine by Triumph is a fucking stellar album all the way.
What was the song? Emmett, what was their big song?
What was the song that they were like? They had like 2 years in the early 80s where they were the shit.
Yeah.
No, they were. I remember they were at the US Festival, and they were like one of the main headliners, and it was on
Magic Power. Magic Power. Remember that song, Magic Power? Feel the magic power of the music.
What happened to them guys?
Yeah, the music.
I'm young now, I'm wild now. I want to be free. That was Triumph.
I want to research them because they just fell off of the rock and roll.
Oh, dude, listen, Triumph was badass, and they did Rock and Roll Machine was an album that was early in the Triumph thing. I think Magic Power was probably their biggest hit, but Rick Emmett was a fucking stud. Because he sang and played all the guitar, and he was not a joke. He would fucking play all that shit.
They should be like a hippie jam band now.
Yeah, dude. If they would have been around now, he would have had such an easy, beautiful, wonderful life. He could have just gotten some dudes and played festivals. Been great.
Yeah.
So Erickson, I did the numbers.
Triumph.
John, the numbers that came up when I added them up, For Bryan Adams, it's 38 million. And for John Cougar, it's 31 million.
Ooh,
I still don't.
we still have some
I
southern.
feel like Carrie
states.
Lake right now. I feel like Carrie Lake. I feel like we need to. I need to start a Twitter, and I need to still fight it. I'm a Bryan Adams denier.
Yeah,
I feel like we can get into court with those numbers.
I feel like so too. I feel like we're getting fucked over.
John Cougar's calling up. Just find me 8 million more. Just 8 million more records is all we need. 8 million. Come on, those walls can crumble down.
I fought authority. I'll fight authority again.
Hey, here's Triumph at the US Festival, which was
my God.
So these guys were playing on the heavy metal stage, and they're all wearing white. I mean, Judas Priest comes out wearing leather and stuff, and these guys are like look like they're jamming at like on someone's pool party.
He looks like he was a different time, Chaille. That looks like Henry Phillips. Rick Emmett looks like Henry Phillips.
I was gonna say Scotty from Philip Seymour Hoffman from Boogie Nights.
Oh yeah.
With the outfit and all.
But Magic Power, man. Come on.
I'm looking. These guys were fucking phenomenal.
Oh, these guys fucking Triumph crushed it. Let's not kid ourselves. I know there are a few people out here who watch this podcast who know what I'm talking about. Mostly I'm talking about the Squeaky Tiki right now. He fucking knows.
I'll probably have to pull that song off because we'll get.
Oh man,
we'll get in
like
trouble.
we did, but from Universal
Patreon.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can't even post it on YouTube. That's what happens when, like 2 weeks ago, we had a complete block, and I uploaded and everything fine, and then that morning when I went to check it,
what did we even put on it?
Well, you can't have it on. Well, Universal is pretty aggressive, and it was that Martin Short and Harry.
Oh, it was a synchronized.
And so they blocked it. I couldn't even play it on Patreon because it just being available on YouTube in any way was a violation. So then I had to re-edit everything and then re-upload it, and then I just put a blur.
We should put our shit on Vimeo for Patreon, Chaille.
You might, but it's not worth it, really. So. Anyway, Triumph, go listen to it, man. And the US Festival was amazing. 83, it was just nuts the way they used to run festivals.
They didn't used to. Well, here's the thing about US Festival in 83. I remember that, and it was like the greatest thing in the world. My friends, we all wanted to go. We couldn't go, but it was like it was happening around us, and we're like, oh my God, we're not there. It's happening. Like festivals now are like all copying that, like that became the business model.
It was. Yeah,
like US Festival became like, they probably lost a shit ton of money, but like
millions.
Perry Farrell turned that into Lollapalooza, and that turned into every fucking Bonnaroo, fucking, what's the Seattle one, Waka
Bumper Shoot
Band
like,
camp.
there's a million of them, and they're all like, oh, we can actually make a bunch of money doing this. And that was the US Festival. 83 was the first fucking
83,
one.
and I think there was another one in 84. But Andy, you remember that one fucking comic that was following us around when we were
Barry Sobel?
Barry Sobel. He got fucking flown in on a helicopter to do a set at the US Festival, which was fucking. I wish that guy was more interesting and wasn't a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
I love that story. I mean, this.
Imagine how much they hated Barry Sobel at the US Festival.
Probably. Yeah.
I mean, just imagine it.
Well, there's enough ears to have him float around.
Andy, first of all,
him, him doing comedy.
You know how it is. You know how it is. Like
King Kong balls.
It's hard to open for a rock band. It's hard.
It's impossible. No one does it. I mean, the only one I know that's done it and that actually was successful was Big J Okerson, and he opened for Korn because his management was the same as Korn's management. But it's murder. Like impossible. It's so hard.
They don't want to see you. They don't want to. They're not in the. They're not in the headspace of comedy. Like that was always my biggest complaint with any other comedian who was like, like anytime you're hanging out with another comedian who's like, I'm a comedian. I want to do comedy everywhere I go. Hey, we're at an IHOP. I'm going to tell the waitress I'm a comedian. I'm going to do 5 minutes for her. Like, shut the fuck up, bro. Who cares? We're just getting here for food. Like, stop it.
I can tell you this, I rode with Sobel from San Francisco to Sacramento, and I concur with the Us Festival audience.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Look at this. Look at that. That's the fucking, that's the stage right there.
So
all fucking just nuts.
You know, the greatest stand-up comedy story to me is a story I heard from a friend of mine who went and saw Steve Martin when he was playing at Alpine Valley in 1979.
Where's that at? Does that matter?
Virginia?
Alpine Valley? That's an outdoor venue north of Chicago, south or west of Milwaukee. That's where Stevie Ray Vaughan died in the helicopter crash. It's an outdoor
Stevie Ray Vaughan
ski resort venue. Legendary fucking place. But it's like, there's 60,000 people there, right?
Yeah.
So my buddy goes to see Steve Martin, and he says that Steve Martin's opening joke was he came out and he did close-up magic. He said, I hold an American dime.
I remember this.
And then he held it up to in all the directions. And then he went, voila. Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do in comedy for 60,000 people? Like, you're Steve Martin. Like, what's Barry Sobel going to do for that amount of people?
The same shit he did in my car.
Yeah. He did his Us Festival set for Andy.
Basically, he did. When I was with him, he was doing shit he did in the movie Punchline.
Yeah.
He's like, like trying out like it's a new bit. And I was like, dude, I saw that in a movie like 15 years ago.
At least Steve Martin was like he hit a point there where like he could just walk out there and just be a wild and crazy guy.
That's why he had to quit.
Yeah, because they no longer thought it was going to be, they weren't listening to the jokes. They were reacting to who he was. His
whole bit was that he was a dumb guy.
Yeah.
So once they realized that, he's not a dumb guy and he's just doing these, it's over. I actually had those records. That's what got me into stand-up comedy. My parents were big stand-up comedy fans, but Steve Martin records were mine.
Oh yeah.
And I had Let's Get Small and Wild and Crazy Guy. And I listened to both of those records religiously in my junior high and, early high school. And I recently listened to them again, and it's incredible the difference between Let's Get Small and Wild and Crazy Guy. Wild and Crazy Guy is filled with crowd noise. It just will not stop.
Yeah.
And when you hear
like the Beatles at the stadium tour,
it's wild. So when you hear Steve Martin talk, but I don't remember noticing that when I was into it. But when you hear Steve Martin talk about why he quit doing stand-up, that's why he quit. Like, you can't do that anymore. In his book, he said he got mad at some stagehand when his banjo didn't lower from the ceiling at the right time. And he was like yelling at some kid, and he's like, what am I doing? What the fuck am I doing? And that's when he realized it was over.
Yeah.
But I mean, you just can't do that arrow through the head banjo act for, bigger and bigger crowds. You have to stop.
I never saw him, but I saw Red Skelton. That's the only early age. Like,
that's a different early age
live performance that I saw comedy.
Where'd you see him at? Skelton.
Anaheim Convention Center, and my buddy in high school had actually stolen the tickets
from an old man.
From someone on his paper route.
Oh man!
When me and John and John's dad go to get the seats, there's a fucking usher right there going, "Come with me."
Oh
and they
no!
Popped us, yeah. And I'm just,
you got busted stealing Red Skelton tickets.
Yeah, he got busted for stealing because they said, "Hey, these were stolen from my mailbox." And then they busted us. And then I remember John's dad was like, greased the guy, and they got us some seats off to the side somewhere.
Couldn't you be like, "Hey man, we're just hobos"? Because I don't know if you guys know this, but Red Skelton, like hobo, that was like
yeah.
Like a hobo.
Yeah, sad clown, actually, the hobo clown.
Yeah, it was like
that was a generation's definite, like when you get
like 2 generations away from Steve.
Right. I would hear that like like red, like old people coming to a comedy show that didn't like you would throw out Red Skeleton
It's
as
skeleton.
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 Red Skeleton.
I didn't listen to them neither.
Red Skeleton's a great band. I actually saw them open for John Cougar.
Oh man, they used to play for Triumph.
That would have been a better joke. You're right.
Yeah.
All right, we're. I feel like we're fading out.
Yeah.
Let's,
Well, I have no recommendations. Oh yeah, I do. I got one. I watched the Henry Phillips Highwayman today that he posted, and it was a new one that I hadn't seen. Hilarious, as always. So go to Henry Phillips on Twitter and find the link to Highwayman.
Still on Twitter?
Well, yeah, for the moment.
Dude, isn't it the worst?
Twitter?
Yes.
It all, yeah. You work for the guy,
in
man.
there, but
yeah, no, it's all chopped up now. It's like you're.
I don't know. Are you guys joking, or is there something going on with Twitter?
No. Well,
No.
I mean, the algorithm's been changed so much that it's like I get nothing but even you can have a choice. You either go for you, which is stuff that's selected for you.
Yeah.
Or you can go on your following, people you follow. Even on the people I follow, it's inundated with right-wing bullshit that I'm not interested in.
Oh wow.
But if I go to For You, it's nothing but that. It's like it's meant to make you a troll. And I'm
Yeah, it is.
I'm having a hard time even remaining on this fucking.
I feel like the other one is just like it's
You're talking about threads.
Yeah, like jumping the thread or whatever. It's almost like what I'm trying to do with Dr. Pepper. It's like maybe this is just a good time to say fuck it to all of it. But
yes, Andy, that's exactly what I've been saying. I've said I'm on Reddit and Twitter. That's it. I'm not doing TikTok. I stopped Instagram. When these are done, I'm done. So Twitter's
I thought you
done.
just said you don't like Twitter.
What I'm saying, Twitter's done with me. I'm not ready to be done with Twitter, but Twitter's making me be done with them. Like, it's making me fucking insane.
I knew right away when the first, the new ownership or whatever, it's like something feels different here. And it was like right away, the algorithm just seemed different. And it was like, why I'm starting to see more of certain shit or whatever. And then it just got more and more. Now it's like not recognizable to what it was when you had your own, it was like you're reading 10 people, 15, 20 people that you're used to seeing. And now it's like you see one maybe in a.
I can't even remember the last time I saw a Doug Stanhope post on Twitter. Right? Like that used to be a big part of, like, that was kind of the base. Like all the people I followed were kind of Doug people. So like, but I still would see every, maybe once a week I see something Doug, and it's usually some comment, like a reply he's had. It's not even.
Yeah, it's like you're gonna get off a bus and you don't know where you are. And there's nobody that's familiar. And it's a fucking.
So I'm gonna when I do quit, I'm gonna stick to my word. I'm gonna quit. So social media is kind of done. It's just going to be Reddit, which is fine, I guess. But Twitter's brutal right now.
Yeah, it'll suck when you're trying to get information about a sweeping hill fire and you got to get on Reddit and have somebody's long fucking.
Well, that's
get home network one or
the neighborhood app.
Neighborhood.
Oh, I hate that one.
I love that one, man.
Well, of course, I'll kill anyone who comes into my yard guy.
Yeah.
The neighborhood app.
No, it's fucking. It's all
next door. They call it.
It's all just political shit around here.
Wait, on next door?
Yeah.
Oh no, where you're at? Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's funny, Chad, because
that's what kind of fucking political shit they post around here. It's fucking horrible.
That's funny, Chad, because my complaint about the Nextdoor app when I lived because Mitchell got it in West Hollywood, and she's like, "Oh, this is the thing," and we would follow it. And also, Brendan Walsh, when we were in LA, was like, "Oh, I'm crushing on Nextdoor right now." Like, was doing like, Brendan-y stuff, like punk, like prank call kind of shit, like lying on Nextdoor apps. funny. But in our neighborhood, the thing about Nextdoor app, which was the big selling point, was, oh, you'll find out what's going on around you. Like, oh, hey, there's cops over at Plumber Park, and then it would be like Carrie. So Mitchell would be on it. She's like, oh my God, there's cops at Plumber Park. There's a kidnapping situation. And we would go over there. There's nothing. There's no cops. There's nothing. And then this would just keep happening over and over. And we would realize like, it would be like a thing where a cop would pull up and then they would talk to somebody and the cop would leave. No, nothing happened. But yet 5 people would post on Nextdoor app, oh my God, here's what I saw. So you're just amplifying bullshit. Like
it's like a police scanner with people commenting.
Right. It's a police scanner without the actual police scanner. It's just
we don't have any cool stuff like that happening. So right now it might get better because at the moment what's happening is that all the people are accusing Nextdoor of being for child trafficking because they are censoring their posts every time they post that the current administration is for child trafficking. And so when they censor those posts, then that must mean that Nextdoor is pro child trafficking. They're in on it.
Makes sense.
So I'm assuming the Nextdoor is about to remove all these assholes. So it might be a useful tool soon. Yeah.
I like how the Catholics are coming after child molesters now. Making a movie about other people's sex trafficking, and they fly under the radar.
I did have let's see, a couple of comments from last week. Erickson, you were talking about some Russian guy who eats food or eats stuff or drinks.
What are you talking about?
It was a video you said, I think Zach was into it, your son. Joshua Ewing said he thinks it's called Shoe Nice on YouTube.
I don't remember that, so I'll have to.
Oh, man,
I'm a little drunk right now.
All right. Another thing is, last week I was asking about if there was anything like a behind the scenes of Deadwood or something like that. And one of our Patreon, Charles Ferguson, said he's got a link. I'm going to put it in this episode. It's a link to behind the scenes of Deadwood.
Oh, perfect.
When they were shooting there, there's not a story or anything like that, other than just like the rolling footage and stuff like that, which thank you, Charles, for doing that. Chase H, I think that's Holt.
That's Chase Holtman.
Yeah. He said, if you want to see a movie with Clint Howard as the lead, check out Ice Cream Man. I didn't look at it. I don't even have a picture for it. It'll probably be here, but that's another thing. So I do read the things that come in on less on YouTube, because I don't know what some of those people are coming up with, but Patreon, definitely, if you got questions, put it in there. And I'll
Russian thing. I gotta look into that.
Yeah, I'll look that up too. Nice. That sounds cool.
Ice Cream Man. Yeah, he's got the face to sell ice cream.
All right. I don't have anything that, again, I've been working and drinking.
Traveling, man.
But I've just decided to stop staring at the TV, so I don't do it anymore.
Well, it helps there's a writing strike.
I guess.
Well, there's nothing to hook
book
you
sales will go up.
Yeah.
That would help me, except that legitimately my family is affected because my son has no job right now. He's supposed to be working, so we're kind of bummed. But so I don't have any recommendations on that level. Go listen to the Avett Brothers. Let me tell you again. If you didn't go watch the documentary, just go listen.
Well, what's the name of the documentary?
May It Last. God, it's so fucking good. Chaille, have you not watched it yet? Go watch it.
I have not. I've been working on stuff in the house, so I've been putting YouTube music, listening to 70s radio air checks.
When you watch it, you'll fucking like. I'm telling you, these guys are super talented and super kind, and like they're like if Ted Lasso were both guitar players. They're like super nice guys who are good, really, really good, and really helpful and kind and nice, and it's weird. I love it. May it last.
I'll do two then. There's a audiobook this guy that I mentioned before, Joe R. Lansdale. There's an audiobook in the Plus catalog called Cold in July that I listened to that is excellent story. And it is also a movie on Tubi with Don Johnson and I don't remember the other two. There's a couple other dudes. Excellent movie.
Is it called Cold in July?
Called Cold in July.
Right.
And man, they did a really good job by the movie based on the book.
Right on.
And so Cold in July is one of mine. The other one is just like an hour and a half, real quick one that I just threw on because I was just skimming through stuff. And you know, Netflix, if you pause, it'll just start playing a trailer. It started playing the trailer of it, and it looked interesting enough to me that I clicked on it and watched the whole thing. And it was called Ma Rainey's Black Bottom on Netflix. And
not a title I would go to.
Interesting, quick little watch, like an hour and a half.
One more time on the title, Chad.
Is it Bollywood or something from
Ma Rainey's Black Bottom?
Ma Rainey.
It was Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
So Ma, like Ma and Pa Kettle?
M.A.
Ma Rainey. Ma Rainey.
All right.
1927 Chicago Music Studio. Blues, racial tensions.
Oh wow.
Interesting story.
A little heavy.
Nah, kind of, but funny and yeah, heavy, but I don't know how to describe it at all. It's kind of bizarrish. I don't know.
Gotcha.
It's fun. Anyway, those are what I got.
Solid. All right, I appreciate you guys doing this early because I gotta.
Hang on, I'm trying to find one. I mentioned this earlier, and it took me a minute to find it. So here it is.
What is it?
The John Mellencamp movie.
Oh,
It's called Falling from Grace. Do you guys ever see this movie?
Oh,
1992.
talk about his feud
Film
with Bryan
directed
Adams.
by and starring John Mellencamp. And it's I think Melanie Griffith might be in it even. It's basically about his life. So I don't know where you can find it. But I remember watching it when it came out and thinking, this is actually pretty fucking good. Like, you know, he was doing his John Cougar Mellencamp thing. You know,
Mariel Hemingway's in it.
Oh, nice.
See? It's a fucking good movie, dude. It's Claude Akins.
Claude Akins.
Can't be that
Falling
truck
from
driving
Grace. That was the name
motherfucker.
of it. I remember watching this movie and thinking, all right, you know, this guy, like he's doing it, you know, he was doing the whole thing. Bryan Adams never fucking wrote and directed a goddamn movie, Andy.
Not that I'm aware of. I know. I get the newsletter. I got
I'm sure
the
he's working on one.
yeah. I got a memory book or whatever from the first concert I went to.
I'm sure that if we watch Falling from Grace, it won't be as good as I remember it being.
That's a story by Larry McMurtry.
There you go. There's your
Wow.
fucking Western writer.
Yeah. It's Lonesome Dove writer.
That's it. So
So did John Cougar write this or did he just?
he directed it.
Oh, he directed.
Starred in it.
All right.
But I think it was written for him because as I remember the story, it was basically about a singer-songwriter who is a small town guy who marries a hot, you know, LA model and brings her back to his hometown.
No, like Doc Hollywood.
Yeah.
They had Bryan
Yes,
Adams.
Doc Hollywood.
on
That's
there.
basically the story. Thank you.
Bryan Adams was #1 on their
Starring
list.
Michael
They couldn't
J.
get
Fox.
him. They got it was Michael
Yeah.
J. Fox and then John Cougar #3. A lot of times it is the third choice.
That's exactly it. You know, that's not who Michael Douglas wasn't supposed to be in Apocalypse Now. A lot of people don't know that.
Michael Douglas.
Yeah, he wasn't, man.
Martin Sheen?
Martin Sheen. That's
'Cause
show's
Martin
over, everyone.
wasn't. Not only was he not supposed to be,
He wasn't in it at all.
yeah.
Cheers, you guys. Thanks for being out there. We hope you still do this. We love you guys, and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and not on our Patreon. Subscribe to that. I mean, if you do that, we can get maybe Chad a fucking air conditioner for his studio.
Yeah.
Nice.
Fend off climate war.
Absolutely. And that's
I
it.
can hack it
$5
for
a month
short
is all it
amounts
is. Patreon.com/issueswithandy. Very simple, and we would love it if you did. We love you guys. We'll see you next time. Peace.